from WCI3 Plus. With your host, Kevin Lighty, this is Behind the Forecast.
Welcome back. It's another edition of Behind the Forecast. Right there, it says my name. Hello. My name is Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighty here at WCIA. Hey, if you're new here, thanks for popping in. I always like to tell people if you can give me a like and a follow or contact me in a myriad of ways. Email, Facebook, X, Insta, all the good stuff. You can even find me on LinkedIn if you want to there. Say hello, drop a message, give us some ideas of some maybe future shows that we may do. Here are some topics or people you might want to hear from. Love to hear from you guys as well, wherever you are out there. Well, coming up a little bit later in the show, we're actually going to be going to the National Weather Service in Lincoln, talking with Rebekka Copple there, and kind of, talking about, what we've kind of been going through with severe weather and how it's Severe Weather Awareness Week here in the state of Illinois. There have been tornado drills, and each day there's kind of been a focus on different types of severe weather. And, we've already had some of that here early in the season, and obviously an active pattern still with us, so there could be more to come here soon. So stick around for more of that. But we always start things off with our top 5 viral weather videos of the week. And here we go with number 5. And, sometimes I like to do some space stuff too. So I say it's a combination of space and weather stuff, but I'm a space nerd, and I enjoy, launches from Cape Canaveral. I mean, just look at that. Just watch it. This is actually for Starlink. So Starlink, of course, what they're, using to create internet across the world and in places where it's tough to have internet, and they have to launch all these little Starlinks, and you maybe seen them in the sky, right? When they're kind of lined up in a row, and it looks like they're like spaceships or something out there, and they're really just the Starlink satellites. So Starlink launching another set of those. And there are hundreds, and there might be thousands of them up there now to help do that. But I always like to show a launch there from Cape Canaveral. It's kind of showing it. Well, let's watch it one more time. What do you say? Launching in 3, 2, 1. And there it is. And liftoff. Excited for more. You may have heard of the Artemis missions that are coming up here. More of that to come, and I'll be sure to share that with you when that happens. All right. Got some hail video here. Take a look at this. We've had some hail here locally too. This is down in Alabama. They had some large hail down there, strong winds down near Trussville, Alabama. Look at all that hail. Look at all that ice. It looks like snow. He's like walking in. I mean, that's a few inches. That's like 2-3 inches. Look at, he picks it up. Look at that. Isn't that wild? So that looks to be, is that penny size? I don't think it was quite to quarter size, but there was a lot of ice down that way. All right, so that's video number 4. Let's get into some more interesting videos here that are going to leave you going, huh? Okay, so of course the Northeast, they had, big snow here in the past week or so. Look at this. They're calling it their snow melting machine. And I don't fully have all of the details on what this thing is, but okay, so here he comes loading this thing up into this device that, I don't know if it's like melting the snow like into water, but you can see the steam's coming off of it. So clearly it must be like some heat in there, and it's just taking it. And I guess this is the way to kind of clear snow, and so it doesn't have to be like left in piles. I've never seen something like this before, but their snow melting machine in New York City. I would be curious, like, where's all the water going? Because now I will say this, you got to keep in mind, when you do have snow, when you melt it down, it's actually a 10-to-1 ratio. So what I mean is for an inch of snow, that's only 1/10 of an inch of actual liquid water. So it's 10 inches of snow to equal an inch. So yeah, interesting concept there. All right, here's something you don't want to be doing. Dangling from a ski lift, chairlift here. Look at this. Look at this person. Look at this. Oh, hanging on. Skier dangling from the chairlift, Big Bear. Rider slipped off of the lift. Video recorded there shows the skier being held on by 2 other riders as a chair carried them up the mountain. Didn't make it safely to the top where the ski patrol members were waiting to assist her. Dangling. That had to be scary. But I've got one that's going to be even scarier. Here we go. Skier buried alive. Look at this. You can see his skis. He's covered in snow, but people were there to dig him out. Look at his arm. His face is covered. So scary. He's got about 3 minutes of air, is what they say when you're kind of buried like that. And they got to him quick enough. Life-saving mission. And 2 Sacramento skiers that were out there spotted the ski tips sticking straight out of the snow. And there they are, digging him out to get him to safety. You can see there's his head. Wow. How scary is that? I'm not much of a skier, and that probably there would make me not want to become one either, but it all turned out well there in Lake Tahoe, California. Luckily, those individuals were there to save the man. You can see them there. Oh, wow. Okay, guys, we are about to get to the second half of the show. Again, we're talking Severe Weather Awareness Week here in the state of Illinois. Preparedness, and we're going to talk to the National Weather Service in Lincoln, who are always so helpful in talking to us and educating us on some of the things going on. This is the time to prepare, and we'll have some tips on what you should be doing. That's coming up with more Behind the Forecast after the break. All right, welcome back here to Behind the Forecast. I am WCA3 Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighty. So this is a really important week here in Illinois. And listen, I know, we're still technically in winter, depending upon who you ask. If you ask a meteorologist, they're going to tell you, no, it's meteorological spring now. And this is when we start thinking about severe weather, tornadoes and lightning and floods and things like that. And so every year, the National Weather Service teams up State of Illinois Emergency Management, and they do a Severe Weather Awareness Week. So why don't we bring in our local National Weather Service forecast office in Lincoln, Illinois. She's been on the show before. We say hello to her again, Rebekka Copple. How you doing, Rebekka? Thanks for joining us again here on Behind the Forecast. How's things going over there?
Oh, it's going good. Storms are already popping this week.
Listen, I think a lot of people very happy to see this rain that we have in the forecast here, and it looks to finally start to be a little bit of a pattern shift, it looks like.
Yes, luckily it's all liquid and no frozen stuff falling from the sky.
Well, good, because
hail.
Yeah, it could be hail at some point. We'll talk about that here a little bit, but we are not going to focus on winter anymore. We're going to focus on, at least in this forecast or in this show here, severe weather, because again, it is Severe Weather Awareness Week. Talk a little bit more about what Severe Weather Awareness Week is, how it kind of came about, and what you guys do each year with this.
So Severe Weather Awareness Week is a conjointed effort between the Illinois Emergency Management Agency and the National Weather Service to help people prepare ahead of the storms, to know where their safe places are, what to do if flooding occurs. And with them, we also do a tornado drill, which is all the communities sound off their weather alarms and practice where to go, what safe space to go to. And that was earlier today on Tuesday.
And so, that's something that, of course, so I think some people sometimes get confused when we kind of talk about this, because a lot of places do it on, I think it is every Tuesday at 10 a.m. That's kind of a monthly thing, but there's the statewide. There's everybody and schools and everybody's kind of doing their plan, right? Is that kind of how the thinking kind of behind it?
Yes, that's the goal. It's obviously we don't mandate anybody to do it, but we encourage it so that everyone has at least one practice round before anything bad does happen for their area.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, oftentimes people, you listen, you've lived here long enough, you've been through warnings and whatnot, but most of the time you probably never actually have to go like immediate risk, take shelter, the tornado is coming down your street kind of thing, even though you should. But a lot of people probably, they wait until that danger is imminent. Well, if that happens and you haven't actually really thought about it, right? Like that's the whole reason you kind of have to do this and pick a day and be like, all right, this is the day, think about where you actually would go if this was a real world scenario, right?
Yes, and it really helps a lot of people to have a set in stone like time and date to actually put focus on it, because then they can put it in their schedule and it won't be something that gets lost in the shuffle of everyday busy life. It's something that's on your calendar and it gives you a moment to just think about it, not anything else.
Yeah, so schools, businesses, family, everybody, hopefully taking advantage of that. And if you didn't do it on the official day, you can always plan another day, right? You can.
Yes,
it's never too late.
We do a weekly weather radio test on Wednesdays between the hours of 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. And you could practice on any one of those given Wednesdays.
And just for kind of some clarification, I think for some folks out there that maybe are, unaware of how the sirens, the outdoor warning sirens work, you guys actually don't sound those sirens, right? Other people, you guys issue the warnings, but you're not the ones sounding sirens across the area, right?
Correct. We are not in control of your local outdoor storm sirens. Your local outdoor storm sirens are usually taken care of by a local entity, whether that's the emergency management, fire departments, or whoever they have designated to be that person. We just issue the warnings, and plus, outdoor sirens aren't meant for your main way to receive a warning. That is for those who have to work outside, live outside, be outside, so that they're aware of what's happening. Um, they're not meant to be heard indoors.
But the weather radio, you guys actually do, the signal comes from there at your office, right? You guys got like a big rack and at least that's the way it was back in last time I visited. You guys still have that signal kind of originating there from your office and it kind of gets spit out and that's when the weather radios pop off?
Yes. Anytime we issue a warning, the weather radios are going to sound, and it's going to sound for the radio that you have set for your location. Depending on where you're at, you'll have it set for a specific county, and that weather radio will only go off if the warning has your county in it.
So people with their weather radios, the outdoor warning sirens, and then their phones as well, right? Those warnings are going to be alerted there.
Yes, so we've got, make sure you have your WIAs turned on, your wireless emergency alerts. Those sound off. Even if you have your phone on silent, it'll still make the noise go off so that you're aware that there is a warning for your area. And we encourage having multiple ways to receive warnings, whether that's your television station close by, your phones, a weather radar app, or just following us on social media.
Yeah, and that's the thing is you never know when one of those could fail. So having those backup, in multiple ways of getting that is obviously really important. So again, Tuesday was kind of the focus of tornadoes, and Monday was, I think, was about getting those warnings out.
Yes, receiving warnings and storm anxiety.
And storm anxiety, which we've talked about in a previous episode. So I encourage you to go back a few episodes back if you want to learn more about the storm anxiety. What else are you guys going to be focusing on here in the coming days here for the rest of the week with Severe Weather Awareness Week?
We'll also be focusing on lightning safety, what to do if you're caught outside during a thunderstorm. If you hear when thunder roars, go indoors. We'll also be talking about hail and wind, what kind of dangers come with those, and how to react when you get a severe thunderstorm warning. That includes that. And then lastly, flood safety, what to do when flooding impacts your home.
Well, we've got a lot of rain in the forecast here this week. Flooding, obviously a thing, that not a lot of people probably think of, and especially with how dry things have been. But you can get even kind of some of that minor urban flooding in these kind of scenarios. Even though how dry the ground is, right? You could still have that if we get some heavy rain that occurs this week.
Yes, so out in the fields, they will soak it up like a sponge. They will love it. The ground is dry enough and it's not frozen anymore. So out in the fields and out in the countryside, that ground is going to soak up all that moisture. But in the cities, like in Champaign, you're going to have urban-like flooding because concrete isn't like dirt. It cannot soak up the water. So the water is going to be standing there and it won't have many places to go.
And flooding, and again, obviously, we are concerned more about that when, rivers and creeks and streams and things are high and low water crossings and whatnot. Is flooding still the number one weather-related killer outside of heat? Is that I know that was a stat for a long time. I think right? Does that still beat like tornadoes and?
Yes, as far as I'm aware, that has not changed.
Yeah, and a lot of people wouldn't think that. They would think it'd be tornadoes or, lightning or hurricane, but flooding is a big thing. You talked about a little bit of lightning safety there as well. Listen, here's the thing. As you know, we chase tornadoes here. We go out, and I always tell people, I'm not as scared of tornadoes because I can predict them. I at least know where they're going to go. Lightning, I have no idea. When I'm out and I'm like spotting a storm, I hate lightning. It's the worst thing because you just never know, boom, where that lightning strike's going to occur.
Yes. If you're stuck outside in it, find somewhere to take shelter. Don't go take shelter underneath the tree because the tree could get struck. And when the tree gets struck, that lightning's got to go somewhere and it's going to spread out across the ground. Taking shelter in a metal frame car is a good idea if you're outside somewhere, especially if you're at a festival or something with school coming to an end here soon and spring break coming up. You're going to be outdoors a lot more. Being on a lake when a thunderstorm rolls through, that's the best time to go find the shore and maybe one of the shelters or pavilions to protect you from the lightning threat.
So many different things that, kind of tend to pop up, here as we, do Severe Weather Awareness Week. You talked about lightning, flooding here, a little bit about tornadoes and whatnot. I know this probably isn't one that you maybe focus on, but I guess it depends also on what happens here with this rain coming up. But, last year there was a lot of concern about dust storms and whatnot, and that kind of popping up here. I think it was last April. Was last April that big dust storm that kind of came through?
Our what seems to be our dust season is March through May.
Okay. So, that's going to be something that, we're going to be obviously keeping an eye on with things. This rain hopefully is going to kind of help things out. From where you guys are kind of sitting over there here this week with things, we've got some decent rain in the forecast. If we get what some of the models are kind of are showing, how much is that going to genuinely kind of help things out when it comes to kind of some of the drought conditions, would you say?
We might be able to knock down on a drought category in some spots, especially if we do get the rain that is being forecast. The hardest part, though, is whenever we're in this deep of a drought is actually getting the rain that we need because the air is so dry, the ground is so dry. We might not always achieve the amounts that we're expecting, and that hurts in the long run for the areas that haven't seen that rain in a long time.
I think all of us, obviously, watching things closely here in the coming months. And when I don't think anybody wants these water restrictions that may be imposed here later in the summer if we don't get a lot of rain. But I think I was looking at some of the numbers, like 16 or 17 inches of rain need to be received over the next 3 months to actually get out of the drought. And that can be tough, but spring is one of the rainiest seasons. Is that right?
Yes. March and April, if we have a good normal spring for central Illinois, we could see that amount of rain in the next 3 months easily.
Yeah. What's the April showers bring May flowers, right? Something like that.
Yes.
There's a joke in there somewhere about Mayflowers. I can't remember what it is, but there's some joke with that too.
The Climate Prediction Center is predicting above normal precip for the weeks 3 and 4, and also for the month of March. So that is promising. Yeah,
that's definitely some good news. And I think we're absolutely seeing a shift in what our pattern has been for months. Would you say, kind of when you look at the kind of global scale of things here, this is a definite, kind of 180 from how things have been going for us, would you say?
Oh, absolutely. Even just today on Tuesday here, the office has already received more precip today, more rain today than we received the entire month of February.
That's pretty amazing, and hopefully a lot more to come. Let's talk. We got about 6 minutes or so left here. I kind of want to talk about you guys there at the Weather Service office. Going into, springtime here, your operations there, getting into severe weather season. What is that like for you guys, as you kind of shift into that and we get into more active patterns and more things coming up? Has anything changed over there for you guys? Is it, how are you guys kind of adjusting to going into this kind of next wave of active weather?
We're paying closer attention to how our schedule is and how many people we have on leave at a time as we head our way into what we call our peak leave season to ensure that we always have enough people to pull in for any inclement weather that moves through. Another big thing that we're getting used to now is the new SPC severe outlooks that they're putting out. They have changed the way they're putting out their categories and their what we call the hatching on those categories. So we're learning about it as you and the public are learning about it as well.
Yeah, that's actually one of the things we're doing we've got our severe weather special that we're going to be doing coming up in April. That's one of the stories is talking about these new outlooks that the Storm Prediction Center is putting out, hoping to kind of clarify some more specifics on some of the risks and whatnot. And so it's going to be interesting how that plays out. But what about you guys over there? Equipment wise, radar all ready to go, and you guys have made some enhancements or some improvements or had some maintenance recently done. How are things looking over there here as we go into this active season?
We are routine here. We've gotten our maintenance done. We have an ET here, an electronics technician that is making sure we continue to stay up and running. As long as we don't have another rogue lightning strike like we had at the end of last year, we should be good to go on the radar side of things.
So what you're saying, even you guys are not immune to a lightning strike over there, right?
Nope. And the radar didn't even take a direct hit. It struck probably a couple yards away and it took our radar out.
And that's why I hate lightning so much. Just so much. You just never know. And then the impacts that can be felt there off to the side and whatnot. So yeah, no good there. So we're going in, to a more active pattern here and whatnot. Typically here, talk about the months that we typically see and the kind of the time frames that we typically see more tornadic activity. Is there really kind of a sweet spot for that here in Central Illinois?
It has seemed over the last few years that I've been in the weather service here in Central Illinois, it seemed that's been March, April, May has been our peak, and then we kind of dwindle off during the summer. But we have seen outbreaks in almost every month now.
Yeah, I think that's, that keeps us on our toes all the time now. Obviously, we had some winter time severe weather. We've already had tornadoes here just, a few weeks ago there down in Effingham County and whatnot, so we can get it at any point. But obviously, as we warm things up a little bit, things tend to pop off a little bit more, obviously, as we get those warmer temperatures here. So that's definitely something that we're going to be looking forward to and, getting that forecast out there. Anything, we've got a couple minutes here left. Anything else you'd like to kind of add on Severe Weather Awareness Week here in Illinois and kind of things going forward?
Sure, yes. So get your preparedness plan ready together now ahead of the storms. That way, when storms hit, you naturally know where to go, what to do, what to grab. You can find all of this information on our website, on our social media pages. Weather.gov/ILX is our website. We are also helping train our future spotters with many spotter classes through the end of this month and through much of April. So look on our website to see if there are any spotter classes near you that you can attend.
That's a great point there. Those spotter classes are awesome, and you guys do a great job kind of educating and getting people kind of up to speed on what to look for. Because a lot of people don't realize these people out there are the eyes to these storms. We can see what we can see on radar, but having individuals out there telling us what's going on. So yes, definitely check those spotter classes out. And also, like you said on your website, I found your guys' Severe Weather Awareness Week link up there, and there's like pamphlets, like PDF files and things that you can like download. And like if you're a weather weather geek like me, like when I was a kid, I was just all over that stuff. So if you've got kids that are interested in that kind of stuff, you guys have some great resources and great things for them to check out. So definitely go on there and explore there and find what you can. Okay. Any last minute comments here before we let you go and let you get back to forecasting more rain in the area?
Stay safe, stay weather aware, and we'll make it through this spring.
That we will indeed. Thank you so much, Rebekka Copple at the National Weather Service in Lincoln. We appreciate you joining us here, and we'll be sure to talk to you again soon, I'm sure.
Yes, thanks for having me.
All right, guys. Well, that's about going to wrap it up here for Behind the Forecast. Really appreciate everybody tuning in here once again as we navigate this upcoming severe weather season. Again, make your plans, get out there, do what you can just to get things ready before that next storm hits. All right, we hope to see you guys next time for another edition right here of Behind the Forecast. Have a good one.